Hello, everybody. This is Joe with Manduck Media, and I decided I'm going to share some of my comic book collection with you because I want an excuse to take out my comics and look at them. No particular order. Sometimes I would go to conventions or I'd go to some store and I'd just pick a random comic, free comic book day, or I'd see a comic book cover I liked and I'll buy it. So first one I got here is a Batman Lobo comic, Deadly Serious. It's just Batman and Lobo, and I thought the artwork looked cool. End of discussion. So yeah, if you see any of these comics you're interested in, or you think I've got some good ones, let me know. I've got the DC Universe Rebirth Batman, #1, I believe it is. That's kind of cool. Got a random Conan the Barbarian comic, which I find to be cool. I like Conan Barbarian. Haven't read too many of his comics, but I know they dominated a lot, I think in the 70s and 80s. Got a Thor comic. Enjoyed the artwork on this one. I saw this one back a while ago, Astro Boy comic. I was like, that's cool. You don't see Astro Boy. He's fighting some dinosaurs there. I was like, oh, why not? So I like Astro Boy. I think I just liked how demented this one. It's Lex Luthor's Action Comics. It looks like an undead Superman there. I'm actually not entirely sure what's going on in this comic. I'll admit that. But if anybody knows, tell me. This one looked super 90s. So it was like Wolverine, the Relic of Doom. It was like these big, flashy, almost neon colors that were common like in the late 90s, early 2000s, I feel like. Got a Judge Dredd comic. He's like falling and grappling with somebody. Yeah. Ape Sapien from the Hellboy comics. Got a Power Man and Iron Fist. Got a Rocket Raccoon and Groot #1. I thought this one looked fun. Nice, thicker comic. This one ticked me off because I wasn't paying attention. Silly me. Oh man, I found like a Amazing Spider-Man #6 where he fights the Lizard for the first time, but it was like a reprint from like the 70s or 80s. Oh yeah, early 80s, 1982. So cool to have, but it's not the original. So this one fooled me, but I still think it's kind of cool because you're basically reading the same comic with newer ads. One of the things I like about comics in general is they're almost like time capsules of the time things were published. You get to see, oh, what toys were they selling and what cartoons were on. And, my dad would say when he was growing up, make your own ham radio set or something. So I think that's one of the charm of collecting comics in addition to the stories themselves. All right, now I'm going to go into some stuff that I actually think is a little more rare and some things that I actually try to keep a little safer. So first one I've got is a Batman and Predator #1. I think this is in pretty good shape here and honestly just a really cool cover. Batman versus Predator. There's that. Ooh, this one is a Daredevil comic, but he's fighting the Vulture. So I thought this one was pretty cool. This one I think is a little rarer, a little older. But yeah, I just love Vulture. He's my favorite supervillain. It would only be better if he was fighting Spider-Man. So honestly, I know that people have lists of like probably the rarest comics and the ones they have. Even though there probably are some comics that are technically worth more, if I could get an Amazing Spider-Man #2, that would be the one I care about the most because first appearance of the Vulture. I got a Spider-Man Adventures, which I guess is based on the 90s animated series, The Sting of the Scorpion. So I thought that was kind of cool. This one is a Spectacular Spider-Man. It's part of the Web of Death storyline. It's just got Doc Ock. So this seems like pretty 90s to me. This one, now we're getting into the rarer stuff. So for me, this is, pretty good. We've got an Uncanny X-Men Enter Sauron. Okay, so this is pretty classic stuff. It also features Khazar. There's some spine stress to it, but other than that, pretty good shape. Got a giant-sized Chiller's Curse of Dracula. So this one is also, I think, a little rare and pretty good condition. One of the things I think is the coolest is I've got the entire Maximum Carnage storyline. All the issues of it, I think all 14. You got a nice Mortal Kombat preview on the back of one of them. So these are ones I've actually been like vaguely curious about opening up, but it's just, as you can see, they're a little loose there. But yeah, this is the entire Maximum Carnage storyline, one of the big Carnage focused storylines of the 90s. So yeah, I've got all the issues. This is the only storyline I have where I have all the issues. So I would like to get more like this. So in terms of size, this is the biggest thing in my collection, but there are a couple things that are a little more rare, which I'm going to share with you now. Okay, so some of the rarest comics I have, there was one that I found kind of randomly at one convention that came locally. That's the by far the rarest thing I have, which is the one I try to keep in pretty good condition. But there's a couple other things I got a number of years ago that a subscriber sent me in the mail, even though I never made my address public. So somebody researched it, and I had moved at the time, so I was no longer living at home. They had sent it to my mom's house, and so it's like one of those things where I was like, thank you for getting me these cool gifts, but it would have been nice to let me know, and I'm kind of wondering how you found my address. So, you know, if you're going to ever send me something, please let me know, because, it'd be a little weird. But still, these were gifts. First one is Venom Carnage, which is a more recent comic, but I guess this is a rarer one and pretty good condition. I honestly didn't know. I've read a little bit of this. I don't actually love the art style, but it's pretty cool that I have it. The things I actually like the most, though, that this person sent were these two giant-size Batman comics. Okay? I can't even get it all the way into frame. This huge thing. I think it's 70s, 80s, Neil Adams based. So these are a bit rare, these giant-sized guys. Got one here, and I got another one. So these giant-sized Batmans, I've got two of those. So those are some of the rare things in my collection. But by far, I don't know if it's in the best condition. Probably not, because it's not that expensive, but still the most expensive thing I had at the time. And the rarest comic for sure is the original Amazing Spider-Man number 13. For you Spider-Man fans that know, the first appearance of Mysterio. So this is the original edition from the 60s. So for me, this is by far the most rare, coolest thing that I own in my comic book collection. So yeah, this is one that I try to keep very safe. So yeah, that's my comic book collection. Let me know if you saw anything in there you thought wasn't that rare or seems like it should be rarer. Yeah, other comic books that you like to read, characters. Want me to talk more about this or do something similar to it or talk about other things? Let me know. Okay, everybody. See ya.